A game we want to know more about is Elder Scrolls 6. This was a game that was announced. We got a very, very short teaser, basically just a camera shot, showing a landscape and some mountains in the background. And then the official graphic for Elder Scrolls 6 came up. And we got that, and we knew it was going to be years away. It was going to be coming after Starfield. But really, how far is it? And what are the things that we know about this game right here, right now? Let's talk about it. So guys, in an article coming to us from Omri Petit of PC Gamer, that release of tension, that slight unclenching of strained patience, that's the feeling of possibility opening up before us. We're officially in an after Starfield era. We're past one of the major landmarks on the road, on the long road back to Tamriel, and on a downward descent from distant space to the familiar fantastical world of mud crabs and stolen sweet rolls. It can't be long before we hear about what's next. Okay, admittedly, we still shouldn't hold our breath. Chances are Starfield's going to have a long, healthy focus as the apple of Bethesda's PRI, and Elder Scrolls 6 likely won't be steaming into the station afterwards. Todd Howard doesn't let anyone upstage his spaceships, not even himself. The first big thing, guys, is yes, Elder Scrolls 6 is still a long way off. There have been reports that have come out that it's in early development at this point, and that was just, like a couple of months ago we were hearing this. And so it still is a long ways away. And when we say that, it could be 3, 4, 5 years away still, because Starfield, obviously just releasing to the world, Bethesda has got a majority of their team on that, right? Kind of similar to, Grand Theft Auto 6 with Rockstar. They probably have all hands on deck over there. So with Bethesda, they're working on Starfield and, servicing that game. Moving forward, though, once Elder Scrolls 6 gets fully into development, when you have a really big team working on it, that's when we're going to start hearing more and more. So in terms of the release date, this is what everybody wants to know. Well, nobody knows. We're hoping to see Elder Scrolls 6 release sometime this decade, but it's anyone's guess. Now that Starfield is launched, the Elder Scrolls 6 is supposedly next on the to-do list, but it's safe to assume the space game will still have Bethesda's full attention for the immediate future. As far as indications of where Elder Scrolls is in the meantime, Todd Howard described the sequel as being in pre-production back in June 2022, and during Microsoft's 2023 hearing with the FTC, Phil Spencer said that it's 5+ years away. So hunker down, it's going to be a long haul. So yeah, look, and they're giving kind of not, exact dates and things of that nature, guys. I would say that we're still a long ways off, but we're probably going to start hearing more and more about it, I would say, in the next couple of years. And then, as time goes and it starts to ramp up more and more, the Elder Scrolls 6, Bethesda's going to take their time with this title. So that's why I think, 5 years, 4 or 5 years is probably not too far off. Now, that being said, in a lengthy video interview from November of 2022, Todd Howard touched on a whole swath of topics: Starfield, video game creative philosophy, NPC romance, and of course, Elder Scrolls 6. About its release, I wish it was soon, Howard said, echoing earlier statements about Bethesda development times. We want them out too, and I wish they didn't take as long as they did, but they do. If I could go back in time, it would never have been my plan to wait as long as it's taken. From there, Howard confirmed the studio's love for the world of Elder Scrolls, noting that he spent more time developing in that space than anywhere else. Following the continued popularity of Skyrim, Howard said that work is being done to give the next Elder Scrolls game a similar lifespan. You have to think about, okay, people are going to play the next Elder Scrolls game for a decade, 2 decades, Howard said, and that does change the way you think about how you architect it from the get-go. So when you think about it, Elder Scrolls 6, could this be the very last Elder Scrolls game ever made? You wouldn't think so, because of how massive of a juggernaut this franchise is for Bethesda and now for Xbox. I think that their mindset, though, is that this is going to be 10+ years of servicing this upcoming title. So Todd Howard put a blessing and a curse on us by announcing Elder Scrolls 6 at E3 2018, despite Starfield was still being in development. We are very patient, so we're just going to casually take the years of E3 in which we haven't heard any more about Elder Scrolls 6. And no, we don't intend to stop if E3 is in the grave. So E3 2019, I think everyone should be very patient, Todd Howard told IGN. And then in 2020, if you're coming at me for details now and not years from now, I'm failing to properly manage your expectations, said Pete Hines. In 2021, it's good to think of the Elder Scrolls 6 as still being in a design phase, Todd Howard said in an interview shortly after E3 2021. Todd Howard said that Bethesda games take a while. Wish they came out faster, really do. We're trying as hard as we can, but we want them to be as best as they can be for everybody. So that's interesting. I mean, it's obviously, you know, the years have gone by since we got the announcement in 2018, and it seems like it's just a very slow process. And I think they announced it too early in reality. I'm glad that we know it was coming, but the fact that it is, you know, it was 2018 when it was announced. It's 2023, you know, going on 2024. Starfield finally came out. I feel that they should have just focused solely on Starfield, and then shortly after Starfield release, they announced their next game like next year, and that would have been the Elder Scrolls 6. But nonetheless, at least we're very happy that Elder Scrolls 6 is coming. With so little information, Elder Scrolls fans have been taking to picking apart anything Elder Scrolls related to find clues. This is in terms of the setting, guys. Starting with the original teaser trailer from 2018, Todd Howard suggested that clues do indeed exist, saying the teaser contains hints at where it's set. The community has run with that. Todd Howard himself has confirmed that Elder Scrolls 6's location has already been decided and that this decision was made a while ago. So in terms of where it is, guys, well, High Rock, it's a reasonable thing to guess, and currently the most popular theory. The original teaser trailer shows rocks and appears to be high. There you go, High Rock. That's not quite enough to be sure, though. TES geography changes quite a bit over time, and High Rock has already been covered by the early games. So have Hammerfell, Morrowind, Cyrodiil, and Skyrim. So could it be Hammerfell? Well, thanks to a New Year's post by Bethesda at the very end of 2020, Hammerfell is another possible destination. No one is quite sure if the image posted is really a clue about Elder Scrolls 6, but the message about mapping the future sure does seem like it could be. Fans have speculated that the placement of candles on the image is a clue, most notably the one placed beneath the word Hammerfell in the undrawn area of the map west of Skyrim. Hammerfell is home to the Redguard people, and its Alkir Desert could line up with the rocky, arid environment shown in the original teaser trailer. So could it be there? Could it be Black Marsh or Valenwood? It's so hard to say, guys. But in terms of the development, well, it's good to think of Elder Scrolls as still being in a design phase, which is what Todd Howard said in a June 2021 interview. But we're checking the tech. Is this going to handle the things we want to do in that game? Every game will have some new suits of technology. So Elder Scrolls 6 will have some additions on to Creation Engine 2 that the game is going to require. So I could sit here and explain the game to you, and you would say, that sounds like you don't even have the technology. How long is that going to take? He said. And so it's something that's going to take a lot of time, what we have in mind for that game. So look, at the end of the day, it sounds like they really want to push the technology, which I love this. I think that's awesome. But at the same time, could this be one of those sequences or turn of events where, like George Lucas with Star Wars, he made 4, 5, and 6 and then came back around to make 1, 2, 3 of the Star Wars franchise? And the reason being was because the pod race in Star Wars, he didn't feel that the technology was there. And so he decided to do 4, 5, 6 first and then come back around when the technology was here to do 1, 2, 3. And so I'm wondering if they're waiting until the technology is right for them to be able to do exactly what they want with Elder Scrolls 6. The gap in between is going to be long. It already is. On one hand, I think it's good to miss things. I think that makes people come to it with really, really fresh eyes. And I think when they eventually see the game and what we have in mind, they'll understand the gap more in terms of technology and what we want to do. So, I mean, it sounds like they really want to push the boundaries here. Now, in terms of when are we going to hear more about this game, guys? Well, It's years away, not coming until after Starfield, Bethesda's next big project, which is releasing obviously and already released, guys. Oblivion, Fallout 4, and Skyrim were shown off in near finished states with relatively small waits leading up to their launches, and Bethesda is probably priming the Elder Scrolls 6 for a similar sequence. Hines told us in 2016 that the next Elder Scrolls won't be teased along both as a mark of quality and as a balm for the development team to craft the game proper instead of diverting resources for vertical slice demos. That means the shot of some mountains could be the last we see of the Elder Scrolls 6 until much of the game is actually built. And I agree. I think it's absolutely something that we can expect. We won't see more until they've got a lot more to show off. Now, is it going to be an Xbox exclusive? This is a huge question people are asking in the community because Bethesda now is owned by Xbox, and that being Microsoft. By now, we've all heard that Microsoft bought Bethesda. For PC gamers, this news probably won't have any immediate downsides. If history is any judge, Microsoft will be more than happy to release Elder Scrolls 6 on PC, maybe even Steam. At worst, you'll have to trudge through the Windows 10 store to pick up a copy, while PS5 owners will be left out in the cold. The news about the Elder Scrolls 6 Xbox exclusive comes during Microsoft's 20th anniversary celebration for the original console. Xbox boss Phil Spencer was a little indirect, saying, in order to be on Xbox, I want us to be able to bring the full, complete package of what we have. And that would be true when I think about Elder Scrolls 6. The message received is that, yes, the Elder Scrolls 6 won't be on PlayStation. So, really interesting stuff, guys. It sounds like PlayStation is not really in their mindset, and it makes sense because Xbox wants to have their own line of exclusive titles. PlayStation has been notorious for having a number of exclusive titles. Xbox is as well, but this is for sure one of their biggest franchises that they've got. It's hard to not think of Todd Howard as a permanent fixture of Bethesda, the elder statesman of Elder Scrolls, if you will. Even Todd is subject to time, however, and Elder Scrolls games tend to eat up a lot of it, especially when you factor in post-release support. In an interview with IGN, Howard indicated that he's running the numbers on whether he'll have another Elder Scrolls in him once the next game is out the door. I probably shouldn't say this, but if I do the math, I'm not getting any younger, Howard said. How long do people play Elder Scrolls for? That may be the last one I do. I don't know. And so, look, Todd Howard has been awesome. The more recent years, I feel like Bethesda has been very shaky, to say the least, in terms of the games they've released and, just a lot of the different tactics that they use. But you can't take away from Todd Howard what he's brought to the gaming industry and to the space, and what Bethesda has done for the gaming industry. Incredible games. And, I think that he would certainly be missed if this was his last Elder Scrolls. But that being said, guys, those are the things that we know so far about Elder Scrolls. And, it'll be really interesting to see what happens, especially if this is Todd Howard's final hurrah with with just gaming, like making these games and game development. I would have to imagine if this is his last game with Bethesda, they're going to take their good time to make sure that it's a really notorious and a great farewell to Todd Howard. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. When do you think the Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be coming? I would love to hear your thoughts about this in the comment section down below. Let's have a conversation about it. And for more of the Elder Scrolls 6 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.